Major changes underway for the police department in Ferguson, Missouri, following the death of Michael Brown. A federal judge has approved an agreement between Ferguson and the U.S. Justice Department, which will require broad reforms to address claims that its officers routinely violated the rights of black residents. The settlement calls for several things: diversity training for cops, the purchase of software, and the hiring of staff to analyze records on arrest, outfitting all officers and jail workers with body cameras. The mayor of Ferguson says the city has already implemented many reforms and will act swiftly on others. Ferguson, of course, has been under scrutiny since Brown's death. Of course, he was a black unarmed teen fatally shot by white police officer Darren Wilson in 2014. A grand jury and the Department of Justice cleared Wilson, who resigned from the police force in November 2014, but the shooting still led to the Justice Department investigation. Folks, a story out of Tulsa County, Oklahoma, we mentioned on yesterday, involving an Army veteran with a substantial history of mental illness. Elliot Williams died in police custody at the age of 37. The ordeal began 5 years ago when employees at the Tulsa Marriott Hotel called police regarding a mental disturbance in the hotel lobby. That's where Williams appeared to be having a psychological breakdown. Williams told responding officers he was suicidal, but instead of taking him to a mental hospital, they reportedly kicked his knees into his spine while arresting him. He was initially taken to Owasso Police Headquarters, later booked and transferred to a Tulsa County jail after repeatedly banging his head against the wall and reiterating his suicidal thoughts. Well, once the veteran arrived at the jail, Officer Jack Wells allegedly slammed Williams to the ground in order to cuff him, resulting in Williams crying out in pain. For the next 5 days, Williams begged for help and told numerous staff members that he was in critical pain and could not move his legs or anything below his neck, but all of his pleas were ignored. They said he was faking. As you can see there on the video, guards tossed food into his cell, even placed a cup of water he begged for out of his reach. Over those 5 days, no one helped Williams to the restroom, so he relieved himself where he was. Guards eventually put him on a gurney and dumped his limp body in the showers and left him there on the cold floor. The Army veteran died due to complications related to a spinal injury suffered from blunt force trauma. Medical records also showed he was dehydrated. Several people, including the healthcare facilitators at the jail, are facing a lawsuit from Williams' estate that alleges a lack of mental and physical care for the inmate caused his death. Folks, this is a perfect example. We just had the Ferguson story where they're requiring body cameras for folks in jail. We've seen other stories. We've seen the young girl out of Kentucky. We've seen a case out of Fort Worth, Texas. Part of this, of course, lots of stories out of Rikers Island in New York. This is an example where if you have body cameras, you need to have that type of evidence to hear what's going on and also see what's going on, not just cops on the street, but also folks in jails.
But here's the thing. We have the video. Right. We just looked at the video. It wasn't that no one saw this going on. Right. I think this is another example of our inability or unwillingness to treat mental illness. We put this guy in a place where people had no experience in handling mental illness. He's obviously having real serious problems, because if you read the story, it's a long account of all the things he did. He obviously had serious problems. It wasn't that they didn't have a reason to think that he was unbalanced. He was unbalanced, but they had no way or no idea how to treat him.
It's also the fact that they're not going to pay a price for it.
Right.
There's going to be a payout.
Right. And this is where, look, I get civil cases, but this is where individuals, whether you want to call it manslaughter, whatever you want to call it, this is where people need to go to prison. Right. Because I'm a firm believer, as long as you continue to have people who are in jails do things and you just pay pay a civil deal, that's it.
Right. Well, this is similar to the Freddie Gray. I mean, Freddie Gray was complaining that he needed to go to the hospital, that he had a broken spine, or his spine was out of place, or whatever the case is. It's sort of similar. You have individuals who literally ignored this man's pleas, and they think, what, his neck was broken? And you leave this man naked on his back, and you're throwing food at him. I mean, they wouldn't treat animals like this. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's beyond gross negligence. It's endemic to how police deal with black folk in America now, and it's just unconscionable. I mean, we don't treat animals in this country this way, and there's no outrage, I mean, we spend billions on prisons each year, and it just seems like the problem continues to get worse.
Folks have to go to jail. Folks, go to our next headline. Remember last week's video BuzzFeed posted 27 questions black people have for black people. The questions seem to be pulled from different stereotypes. Well, now, first of all, we played the video, and here's also a little bit more of the video.
Why do black people look at your shoes before they greet you?
Why are we more likely to engage in the new dance trend than we are to get involved in politics or opening a business?
How did watermelon...
The video caused a firestorm on Twitter with people calling BuzzFeed racist and mocking the video. Fast forward a week later, BuzzFeed has decided to respond to all the backlash with an apology. They released this on Twitter saying, "We've heard your concerns about last week's video. We made a mistake and want to get better at earning the trust of our black audience." But the apology wasn't good enough for some folks who then tweeted, "But did you take that trash down?" A tweet further down said the video was still on the site. The video is still up. We discussed it. To me, first of all, I've seen a ton of BuzzFeed videos. That's what BuzzFeed does.
It is what BuzzFeed does, but it's a silly video that, quite frankly, I think, given the history, our specific history, these things are more sensitive than they are for other groups, quite frankly. And the fact that they had to hire actors and actresses to say this is sort of a tip-off that you couldn't get real black people to say it.
No, not true. Because, no, here's why it's not true. In all of their videos, they're actors.
Right, but
in all of them.
Yeah, and you can't find somebody. Let's see if they can find a bunch of real black people to say that on video.
Here's the deal, though. On my radio show, I played 8 of their videos back to back. And so when folks heard things that black people have to say to white people, things that Asians have to say to white people, and then, folks, no. Folks laugh. Oh, now I'm bothered, and I'm going, that's what they do.
That's because the stereotypical history that we have, it's a little bit different, Roland, than it is for other groups. It just is.
I understand
now,
that.
I think the argument that other videos are silly, too, is not necessarily a good argument. They're all silly, ridiculous videos.
So if a black website did that, we're cool?
I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
Here's the thing.
Well, why is that the point? Why is that the point?
Because a lot of criticism was, well, this is BuzzFeed, y'all are white, and the reality is,
and when it comes to racial jokes, when you're in the group, it is a little different.
Of course it is, and the point is, and also the person who's over BuzzFeed videos is a black woman, Derek.
You know, I watched this thing, and I was expecting to be, offended or whatever. It didn't bother me that much. I looked at it and said, so what? I thought some of the questions were kind of funny, like when he said, why is watermelon a racial thing? Everybody should like watermelon, right? I didn't have any problem with some of these things. I thought they were kind of funny. And then I looked and I saw what you saw, which is they have questions Asian people are asking white folks. I think a couple things. A, because it was black folk asking black folk,
there you go.
That upset some people. And there were a couple of the questions that dealt with some things that we will talk about among ourselves, but don't want anybody. Like when I say, why are black people late and da-da-da-da. All of us have said CP time. Let's be real about this. We say it all the time among ourselves. We don't want other folks to say it. We don't want other folks to think it might be real.
We don't want a white site to do it. Go ahead.
I don't understand why people would be sensitive about a black person asking another black person that, though. Now, if you were someone other than black and you're asking me about a stereotype, then yeah, I watched the video, I thought it was funny, wasn't sensitive. I think there's a little bit of sensitivity there. Stop being PC.
I actually think the response BuzzFeed said about wanting to earn the trust of black people is the most interesting, and I think that hiring more black people would help with that.
Dude, it's a black woman over the video, but here's the other deal. No, but here's the other deal that's funny though. They haven't taken the video down. You know why? What's their name?
Yeah.
What's their name?
BuzzFeed. And they got buzzed.
So guess what?
Just what they wanted.
So guess what? Even their apology, you still buzz about their apology. All right, folks, our News 1 Now. We'll talk about, of course, big changes to the $20 bill. But some people are still a little bit upset that Harriet Tubman is going to be on and Andrew Jackson is kicked to the back of the bill. All right. See, he's not even coming off fully. Also, we'll talk to Tatiana Ali about the TV One original movie, Second Straight. That airs right here on TV One. And, of course, it's What the Hell Thursday. And I'm still saying what the hell about the controversy over the damn BuzzFeed video. But we got some other stories for that. Y'all don't want to miss that. All of that right here on News 1 Now TV 1.